Hello, everyone. Welcome to MindBody TV. I'm Dr. Kinda Remo. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm going to be sharing something really powerful today that I think gets overlooked when we're on a healing journey, when we're on a journey of awakening, when we are realizing the connection between the spiritual and the physical. We realize that our thoughts are affecting what's going on in the body, and we begin to sort of accelerate into more love, more joy, more positivity, more acceptance, and seeing the powerful effect that that has on our healing. But there's a major piece that gets overlooked, and that's that it's not all rainbow and fairy tales. It's not about a journey only into bliss. Our healing and awakening journey is a journey of embracing our darkness, a journey of letting go, a journey of surrender. And one of the biggest things that happens when we're really ready to surrender, when we choose that full surrender, is the hopelessness, the darkness, the I'm trying so hard and it's actually getting worse. And then that hopelessness comes up of what's the point? Why am I doing this? Is there really a meaning to this? And what I've seen for myself and for those I've worked with is that until we're ready to let go of the meaning that the ego is putting on top of everything, we don't really open to the truth. And I heard it said this way a long time ago in the Landmark Forum, life is meaningless. And it's meaningless that it's meaningless. What? As soon as you say life is meaningless, it's like, what? Wait a minute, that's not true. What about this? What about that? And you're advocating for something, especially if there's any religious or strong spiritual beliefs you've held. No, I cannot let you just have that. But when we realize it's meaningless, that it's meaningless, kind of opens up a whole new arena of possibility. What if I don't make it mean anything, that life is meaningless? Then I can just be free to let go. And let me just touch on this more fully as we go. When we're really ready for full surrender, which is letting go of the small self, of what I think or what I've learned or what I've found through my journey, when we're ready to really let that go, we open to something so much bigger. And so part of that is letting go what we think it means, what we think it's for, where we think we're going, and what we think is the purpose. That's a true act of surrender. And I've seen it almost universally when we're really, really stepping into our power, that this is kind of an essential step. So thank you for joining me here. If you are live, I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from, where you found this work, and what's been coming up in your life. We will be taking questions that are asked or comments and making additional videos to serve the community. If you are listening to the recording, hello, you can introduce yourself as well. We would love to hear from you. I just finished this weekend speaking at an amazing event with Kyle Cease out in Salt Lake City. It was so powerful. I met so many amazing beings from our community, so many people who are in the embracing health work or working with me in the Bean Medicine, and it was so wonderful to meet you. I met so many I hadn't ever met before, and it really enriched my life so much to connect with these people in that room and have so many powerful things happen for myself included, for all of us. And we will be planning another live event sometime next year, so you can stay tuned for that. We will be doing it again. And it was just one of the most powerful experiences of my life. So more on that as we go. I did share a video about this whole hopelessness thing a couple weeks ago, because I had an experience with a good friend of mine who was on a spiritual journey, doing amazing, very powerful healing work, and just had this whole fallout with so much coming up in his life. And the work is really we embrace this and we expand beyond it, and it's this expansive journey. And sometimes things are just so big, it's F this. this doesn't make any sense. This can't be the right thing. And I'm going to let go with everything I think about everything, including everything I think about what I'm supposed to do with this. Everything I think about, well, it's all growing me. So have you ever had an experience like that where you kind of embrace, what's happening? You move through life fluidly, you cultivate your power, but then there are certain things that happen where it's like, no. This goes beyond that. There's something off here. And you just sort of dump everything that you think. And sometimes it feels like I shouldn't do that. I should be a bigger person. I should stay open. I should keep going. And it's like, we get to a point where that is going to be just BS because it is just a belief system. We get to that point. That's the right thing to do. Like, dump it. Have your no. Have your closure. It's time to embrace the hopelessness. Until we do this, we're still kind of on the hamster wheel of trying to get somewhere better, trying to get somewhere more powerful, trying to get to a new thing, trying to get to a new world. And I don't know about you, but I've had that journey where it's like, oh, here's what's happening in the world, and then it's all going to come together. There gets to be a point where you're like, I'm calling BS on my whole spiel about what's happening, about everything. And that's what I mean, where we've got to finally get to the moment of life is meaningless, and it's meaningless that it's meaningless. Because I'm putting all this meaning on it. Is that actually the absolute truth? Is that actually what's really going on? And when I can let go of everything known and unknown that I've been making it mean, I get to something more real. And this is what happened for me a week ago, where it was such a catharsis to just embrace the hopelessness. I'd had this particular thing coming up in my life for like a couple decades, and it was so excruciating, right? Another round of this. And I'm like, oh. And I called my friend Jen, and I was like, Jen, what the heck? I feel like I'm always going to have this. I'm never going to be free. It's never going to get better, right? Right in the contraction of it. That's what it's telling me. And I just went right into it. Okay, I'm always going to have this. I'm never going to be free. I breathed into it. I allowed it. I shared it with her. I let her see it. Like, I made noises. I cried. I breathed. And I just let her hold space for me. And after all of that, and it was like a huge catharsis of like tears and breath and motion, I felt so much better. I felt better physically, mentally, emotionally. And this wasn't the only time. There were like 3 rounds of that, right? A few days in a row. And I'm a different person on the other side of that. I'm more surrendered. I'm less mind and more true self. And I also noticed the pattern started to fall away, the pattern in my body. And so I wondered, like, oh, that last bit of it I was holding on to, like, yeah, we're getting somewhere. You're getting better. You're going the right direction, is actually the only thing left to let go of the pattern. It made a huge difference to me to embrace the hopelessness. Now, hopelessness can be a really challenging thing to welcome, to embody, to breathe through. And so that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, is give you that validation around it's okay to feel totally hopeless. It's okay to feel totally dark. And because I saw from my other friend the week before, he was really resistant to like fully embracing the darkness. No, I should go over this. I should rise above this. I should see my way through this. But the only way through it for him in that moment was to be in it fully and letting go. And I saw such a shift for him to no longer like try to be above it, try to be in a better place. And I thought like this was a really worthy topic, because especially those of us who are empathic and we're sensitive and we realize like, wow, I'm here to contribute to humanity. I feel the pain of humanity. I'm here to contribute in a bigger way. Don't let go. Don't give up. And then we don't really fully surrender, right? We don't surrender who we are as fully as we could. So sometimes just like arriving in that total hopelessness is the surrender we've been looking for. So the ego can hijack us, and now expansion, awakening, all of it becomes like the ego's way to get us to a better place, to like keep going, but it becomes this identity of who I am. And I've seen it for so many people sharing a spiritual message that it's like this never-ending hamster wheel of, we're almost there, now this is happening, and we're almost there, and the darkness is losing its grip, and then we give it all this power, and we're in this fight, the light against the darkness. And I have found that entering hopelessness and surrendering meaning was really the doorway for me to true freedom. Beyond the story of light and dark, beyond the story of what I'm overcoming, beyond the story of I'm growing, I'm expanding. Sometimes you're gonna feel it's just empty. Have you ever felt like that? And then you're tired because you realize like part of me is trying, part of me is battling, part of me is on a journey to get somewhere. So I guess I'm not really fully here. And that's a journey that's ultimately going to be depleting. And it's only when we're really, really tuned in that we see that. Otherwise, we muster up a little more energy and keep on trucking. We're almost there. Oh my gosh, what a racket. What if the surrender that comes from fully embracing hopelessness, right, which is just a delusion anyway, is really what sets us free? And are you willing to do that? What comes up when I say that? Does it feel wrong to surrender to hopelessness, right? Does it feel like losing a fight? Because the I am that we all are doesn't have to fight to stay in light. Doesn't have to fight to serve humanity. Doesn't have to fight to get my health back. Doesn't have to fight to like carve out my success and make a difference in the world and show them who I am. Like it's all going to get so exhausting. And one of the things I see is people who have like a really powerful vision and then they'll get depleted. Like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to forget the whole thing and go live in a tent. And there may be a sense of peace in that because it's more peaceful to just check out than keep that fight going. Yes. But is it actually the wholeness? Or are you still pushing against something? And I've seen a lot of people burn out when they'll try to like get that business started and coaching and I overcame an autoimmune disease and now I'm going to share this. But then they get so depleted going after it because they're in that let's rise above this, don't let it get you down kind of energy. Whereas if we could surrender to you could call it hopelessness, you could call it helplessness, you could call it meaninglessness, powerlessness, right? It's all a delusion. But if we keep fighting it, we're going to deplete ourselves. We're going to deplete ourselves. Not the darkness is going to deplete us or the bad thing or the program. Or like we're going to deplete ourselves because we could surrender and we could let go and we could allow the strength of who we are, of what we truly are, to come in and show us. And I've found those moments of letting go are the most profound and are the space through which the most power comes through. I got home and my daughter was like, Mom, you're different. You're more calm. You're more relaxed. You're not worried about where's this, where's that? What time do I have to pick Gianni up? And she really feels me. And part of it was everything that came up last week where I was overwhelmed. I had a migraine. I was like, and I realized It's all emotional. It's so old. Part of me is like, haven't I gotten past this? And then the hopelessness of, oh, I'll never be free. And that was exactly where I went to open to the strength. Don't let hopelessness scare you. Don't let any of the boogeymen scare you. It's just an idea. It's just an emotion. It's just an energy. The I am that I am is bigger than it. So when I embrace that it's there and I stop fighting it, that's where all the power can come in. And so many of us who are in that fight, the fight against darkness, are actually here to serve a really profound purpose. And we could let it be easy. I talked last week about Vipassana and how much it changed my life, that my husband went through a Vipassana retreat. We've been practicing the breath work from that work, and really entering stillness more deeply as a way to allow profound change, profound healing. And when we do that, when we let go, a lot of darkness can come up. And so what do we do with that? The mind will fight it. We'll make it wrong. We'll try to stay above it. And that's where the whole thing goes off. What if I don't need to stay above it because the I am that I am already is beyond it? The space of creator is bigger than the space of created. And even though I don't know how, because I certainly didn't know how to release and resolve the migraine, but I did know how to feel what was under it, to feel the despair that I had been trying to escape or remedy, right? And over years and years and years, I've let it go, I've neutralized it, I've embraced it, but there was like deeper levels of it and deeper layers of it and deeper core of it that was ready to come up. And that's really what I embraced when I just allowed myself to fully be in the hopelessness without trying to find meaning. So crazy. But that meaning, finding meaning and buying into that can just keep us in that loop. So what meaning have you been giving your struggle? Right? Like, I had the struggle, but I became a better person. There's truth in that. There's so much truth in that. And there's a point where there's a fabrication that isn't the truth. So it's yes, and there's truth in that, and there's a way the ego fabricates a story about it and then keeps us in this like healing journey of overcoming. Have you experienced that? Have you bought into that program and then like, oh yeah, I make everything a project. Everything is a thing to overcome. And wow, I find I'm just working hard. So the ego's gonna hijack that. Oh, I'm triumphing. You should see what I went through this week. Yeah, your spiritual journey doesn't need to be trial and triumph and overcoming. It could, from this moment forward, just be about being. Being whatever messy thing is here in this moment. Being whatever inconvenient feeling is here, being whatever fear. A lot of things in the last weekend, in the live event this weekend, came up around major, for myself and Kyle included, who were like conducting the things, but for participants as well, like major fear, like I can't move forward, this is too scary, I don't know how, and that gridlock. And so what if we would open? Because that's what's going to happen, you guys. The meaning is going to fall right out. The hamster wheel of getting somewhere is going to fall right out. The more you open, the more you surrender, ultimately these things will also fall away. And the fascinating thing, I've talked about this before, is like we can let from the true self a whole different meaning come in, a whole different purpose. So in the movie Groundhog Day, Bill Murray's character is like pretty miffed at life, and he's kind of a jerk. And he gets stuck in Groundhog Day over and over and over and over and over and again. And he can't get out. Every day he wakes up, it's Groundhog Day again. And he realizes, well, screw this. No matter what I do, I'm gonna wake up in Groundhog Day. So now he lives as a big F you to life. Well, screw this then. I might as well blow myself up. Screw this. I might as well blow this other guy up. Screw this. I might as well blow the world up, right? And over and over and over. There he is again. There he is again. There he is again. So he finds all these different ways to destroy himself, destroy other people, destroy everything, destroy the world, until he doesn't, right? What did he do? He gave himself the freedom. Well, if life's meaningless, then F this. And that may be your first step too, right? And that actually might be why you don't want to let yourself have life is meaningless, because you're like, then I just won't care. Then I'll do destructive things. But what happens when we free ourselves to that level? It's really well depicted in the movie, right? Because he's destructive until he's not. It's like, well, I did that. What else is possible? And he starts by nature, because our nature is to contribute. Our nature is oneness, to give, to notice there's other people here. Might as well play around with that. And he like saves the cat from a tree, or helps the woman get across the street, or every day is more and more and more of helping people, making a difference, contributing, doing this, doing that, and realizes like, well, this is good. If I'm going to be stuck in a never-ending same day over and over and over, I might as well find some joy and some contribution, and this feels good. And so his nature brings him around to contribution, and he eventually comes around to generosity and giving, and then he comes around to love. And he gets to the point in the movie where he's no longer resisting Groundhog Day. Like, you can tell he's not like, oh, gotta live this shit day over and over. He's in a space of like, yeah, I'm gonna show up to live exactly this day in my highest way. And then he chooses an act of unconditional love. The old him would have never done. The old him would have never chose that move. It was always like, let me do this to get what I want. Let me be loving to get the thing. But with this evolution of freedom, he chose an act of unconditional love. And that's what broke the spell. That's what allowed him to wake up into a new day, a day with all new possibilities, a new world. And that really, it's worth seeing the movie through that lens, if you haven't already. That's our nature. When we free ourselves to life is meaningless, we may be in a F you about it at first. And you can just let yourself have that, because freedom creates prosperity. If we truly free ourselves, we always align with our nature. And our nature is oneness. Our nature is contribution. Our nature is prosperity. Health is wealth. So if you're not free, you're going to feel it. And it's going to feel like exhausting and depleting and painful. And I have to keep trying to be a better person. That's what's ready to fall away, to meet that space of true being. We have put together a really powerful package, and I want to share because I know there's a lot of new people finding this work. In the work I've done in Mind Body Medicine, I guide you through cultivating your personal power. Until your power is here, you're not really learning. Your system is not learning in that acceleration to come back to your true nature. So that's really the most important part, is how do you call your power back? And then how do you rearrange what's happening here? The neural networks, the connections, the signals, the cellular, the DNA. How do we allow a new pattern for that? So we manifest and we express health and wealth. And so the programs I've created online are specifically to that purpose. And we've put the main 4 core programs together in a bundle. And I've added a really powerful neuroplastic program, which is about changing your brain. I'm going to talk more about that next week. You can change your brain. You can change your neurology. Whether you've been in chronic depression, chronic anxiety, chronic pain syndromes like I was, you've got to change those neurologic patterns at the core foundational level. And there's a really powerful process I have found and then developed it into my own, knowing what I know from having studied and taught neuroanatomy, psychoneuroimmunology, and understanding about neuroplasticity to develop this process to change our brain, to change our nervous system. And it has allowed so much surrender for me, and it's allowed so many miracles to come into my life. So that's the Neuroplastic Program, and we put that together in the bundle as well. This is available right now. We're on the wait list because it opens next week, and it's at drkimd.com/bundle. I'm also going to be doing a live call for this. So anyone who has been participating in this work and wants to go more deep with this and really make a bigger commitment to vest yourself in receiving a deeper download, a deeper truth, a deeper rebalancing and recalibration, it's available. It's a shift in consciousness. So we'll be doing some really deep work during that live call. It'll also be recorded, and that's included with this bundle. So our 4 main core programs: the Mind-Body Solution for chronic fatigue and illness, the Mind-Body Solution for anxiety and depression, where we've seen people get out of chronic depression and anxiety, panic, off medications, the Mind-Body Solution for chronic pain, getting out of pain patterns, getting off pain medications, and the instant elevation are in there, as well as this neuroplastic program and this tool I'll guide you through, and our live call. So if you're new to this work, this is a great time to join and to move forward in this way. If you've been in this work for a long time, you'll also really, really love this, because this neuroplastic package will greatly enhance everything you've done so far and allow you to go into a much bigger expansion with it and grounding it into your nervous system. So that's at drkimd.com/bundle. Do not be afraid of the hopelessness. The infinite being that you are, you're an infinite being having a temporary physical experience, does not need to fear. You are connected with Creator, experiencing created. From that space of Creator, you can allow a shift in all of it so that you are safe, you are free, you are fed, you are nurtured, you are resourced, and you are healed. From the you that you truly are, you can let the physical temporary you to experience that, to receive that, to let in that recalibration, so you begin living in higher levels of health, wealth, and prosperity now. So excited to offer this to you. We will be here each week live from MindBody TV on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And it's in the Facebook community, MindBody Community, if you're in Facebook, or on my YouTube channel, Dr. Kim Duramo. You can get the training at drkimd.com/bundle. And I invite you to just keep allowing, like, the highest increase in frequency comes when you let go of trying. So even though your journey may have been trying, doing this, doing that, holding on, don't let go, and that may have been useful at one point, it is no longer going to serve you to white knuckle your way through life and hold in control. It's actually just going to bring you down. So play with this. Play with the idea of surrender. Play with what would it feel like to let go of whatever I'm making this mean that's actually keeping me in a fight. What if I remember life is meaningless, and it's okay that it's meaningless. It's meaningless that it's meaningless, because the truth of what I am is what is coming in to show me. All right, I love you guys. So glad to see you here. I look forward to seeing you next week. So if you go to drkimd.com/bundle, you'll get on the waiting list for when we open the cart next week. And I'm really, really excited for you to begin this program. I love you, and I'll see you soon.